Let me start by saying this. It's not a secret that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has the most accomplished career in NBA history. There are very few players that can match his resume. We're talking 6 championships, 6 MVPs, 19 All-Star appearances, the second all-time leader in points scored, and many more accolades that he has accumulated. There are only a few players that truly deserve to be considered the greatest of all time, and he is absolutely one of them. His career is as perfect as you can get. Well, almost as perfect. There is something about his career that the NBA media fail to mention. When they debate who the GOAT is, there are many media members that have the tendency of tearing down certain players. For example, they'll bring up LeBron's performance in the 2011 finals when he averaged a pedestrian stat line of 17.8 points per game, or that Michael Jordan went 1-9 in the playoffs before Scottie Pippen showed up. But what do they say about Kareem that is so bad? That he only won 2 finals MVPs? That doesn't seem like such a bad thing, right? Well, how convenient of them to leave out this one big thing about his career. And the biggest secret is that this happened in the middle of his prime. Let's start with the 1974-75 season. In the previous year, Kareem won his 3rd MVP in 5 years, and he led the Milwaukee Bucks to the finals. Although they lost in 7 games to the Boston Celtics, he converted one of the biggest shots in the second overtime of Game 6 that saved their season. We fast forward to the season in question, and the Bucks failed to reach the playoffs. Let's talk about the reasons why. For one, they experienced a big loss to their roster. Oscar Robertson retired from the game. Although he was no longer dominating the stat sheet as he used to, he was still one of the game's best quarterbacks. In fact, Kareem mentioned this according to onmilwaukee.com. After Oscar left, that created a big void. You don't replace someone like Oscar. You hope that you can get 2 or 3 guys that contribute to the team the way that Oscar contributed. To make matters worse, Kareem missed the first 16 games of the season after fracturing his hand in the preseason. He got the injury by punching the support pole of the backboard out of frustration. With him gone, the Bucks had a 3-13 record. That included an 11-game losing streak. During that span, they only surpassed 100 points once. That proves more than anything how valuable he was to a team that couldn't overcome the injury bug. For example, their 3rd leading scorer, Jim Price, missed 26 games. He was their newest addition to the team that was supposed to help direct the offense with Oscar gone. So for large parts of the season, this team was solely dependent on Kareem. He responded by averaging 30 points, 14 rebounds, 4.1 assists, and 3.3 blocks per game. When he was playing, the team went 35-30. There's no question that if he was healthy, that they make the playoffs. However, they still had an opportunity to reach the postseason since they finished only 2 games back from the final playoff spot. In the final 10 games, they finished 4-6 and they suffered a 4-game losing streak. During that stretch, they suffered bad losses to the Suns, who went 32-50, twice to the Lakers, who went 30-52, the Blazers, who went 38-44, and the Knicks, who went 40-42. These were all games that were winnable. If you are the best player in the world, you got to win those games in order to secure a playoff berth. He came up short, and he had a bitter ending with the Milwaukee Bucks. Shortly after this, he would request a trade to the Los Angeles Lakers to start the second act of his career. In his first season with the Lakers, he made history. In the wrong kind of way. He became the first and only player to ever win the MVP while failing to reach the playoffs. So if you're keeping count at home, Kareem failed to reach the playoffs 2 years in a row. And here's an important stat from that season. He played every single game. Does Kareem deserve any break from this? I believe this season deserves a little bit of context, and you can make your judgment after we've gathered all the information. The one thing we can say in his defense is that the Lakers were not a good team by any stretch of the imagination. In the previous year, they had the 2nd worst record in the league. In fact, This is what Jerry West said about the state of the team after replacing Bill Sharman as head coach in the 1976 offseason. They would be a last place team without Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem is the Lakers right now. And he was right. He was the only reason why they improved by 10 wins. If we're going to be technical, this was a playoff team, even though they had a losing record. Let me explain what I mean. During this time, only 5 teams from each conference made the playoffs, and the Lakers had the 4th best record. I know what you're thinking. The math just ain't mathin'. But here's why they missed the cut. The NBA had this stupid rule that the best 2 teams from each division would be automatic locks to make the playoffs, no matter what their records were. In the Midwest Division, the Milwaukee Bucks were the division leader with a 38-44 record, and the Detroit Pistons were second with a 36-46 record. Those 2 sorry teams made the playoffs. So the Lakers were in the much more competitive Pacific Division. They had to fight for the final playoff spot. It was going to be between them and the Phoenix Suns. In the final 20 games of that season, they faced Phoenix 3 times, and they lost all 3 games. During that span, the Lakers went 9-11. This is where Kareem has to prove to the world why he's the MVP and exert his dominance against these average teams. But he didn't do anything special. During that 20-game span, he averaged a combined 27.6 points, which is a decimal point less than his season average. Sports Illustrated even criticized the team for the lack of fire they displayed during such a critical point of the season. So I don't believe he deserves a full-on pass for the way their season ended. I understand that some of the best players have failed to reach the playoffs during their prime years. That includes LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Oscar Robertson. But missing the playoffs 2 years in a row is something that should never be said of a player of his caliber. I give him credit for the way he responded to those 2 years. He won 2 more MVPs and won 5 more titles after Magic Johnson came along. That's the era that everyone seems to talk about the most. But let's not act like the 1975 and 1976 seasons never happened. Now it's your turn to weigh in on the discussion. Do you think that those 2 seasons should be enough to disqualify him as the GOAT? Let me know your take on this. Thanks for watching.